Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So have you ever wondered how someone goes from having just one property to now managing and owning multiple? So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I went from having one property about 2 years ago to now having 6 with all cash flowing for me. Now, it hasn't been an easy journey. There's been challenges along the way, but I'm going to break down exactly what I did to build a property portfolio that cumulatively is now worth nearly 7 figures. So let's rewind to 2017. So here I was 25 years old, and for the previous 3 years, I had been saving up aggressively for my first property, the property for me to live in. Now, up until that point, I was living at home with my parents, but commuting from London to Kent because my job was based in Kent. And when I came to buy my property, I had the deposit and the funds ready. I was quite fortunate because my parents at the time mentioned to me that they would actually give me half the deposit for my first property. Now, I actually had the funds for my first property, but this was nice because it enabled me to then actually use the remaining funds for kitting out the property, buying the furniture, the TV, the beds, everything that was needed for the property, and then still having some savings left over as well. And for me, even the property that I lived in, I knew that property goes up in value over time. And I knew this was going to be my first property, but it wasn't going to be my last. Now here's the game changer. So in early 2021, I actually decided to release equity out for my first property. So in those few years, it had gone up in value by a little bit, and I decided to release £25,000 from my property. Now, because it was COVID, there wasn't really many things to do. I made a point of saving aggressively for that time period as well. So for the year before and 2021 and the best part of 2022, I was just saving aggressively, and then I also had this money I had taken out from my property. And then I was searching for a year and a half for my first buy-to-let. So I was looking all over Kent and eventually came across a 2-bed flat in Gillingham and purchased that at the end of 2022. And then I got tenants in right at the beginning of 2023, and has been cash flowing for me ever since. Now, it wasn't smooth, it wasn't easy. You know, there was a year and a half of where I was searching for properties. I couldn't find the deal that I wanted. However, I just kept persevering, and I was able to land my first investment property. This actually gave me real confidence because now I actually felt like an investor. When I was going to networking events, when I was going to business events, I could talk to people and tell them, look, yes, I have property, but I actually also invest in property as well. And I felt as if people were starting to take me a bit more seriously. Now, it was actually around this time where I decided to pull even more money out of my first property. The property had gone up in value significantly from 2021, where I first pulled out money from that property, to 2023. So in those 2 years, property prices had increased drastically over the country, especially in the southeast. So I made sure to make use of that. So I pulled out £50,000 from my property, and again, I had savings as well. So it was here I thought I want to scale up to a bigger strategy where I could actually buy more properties. And this is where I came across multi-unit deals. So this is where you buy blocks of flats and then you just rent them out. And then I spoke to my younger brother as well and actually asked him if he wanted to come in as a joint venture partner so we can do this together. And by the end of 2023, we locked in on a block of 4 flats in Halifax and then end up purchasing it at the beginning of 2024. And that's been cash flowing for us also pretty smoothly ever since. What I want to also talk about is what's been key to my growth. I'm gonna break them down one by one. So number one, it's been networking. So networking has been super, super important. From the 6 properties I have, 5 came from some form of networking. So with my buy-to-let, the first buy-to-let that I bought, I was actually introduced to an owner of an estate agent by a lady that I met through a property group chat. And when she introduced me to him, he mentioned about the 2-bed flat that they had actually up at the moment, and he gave me a little bit more details about it, and I was able to get a viewing in pretty quickly and then secure that property. And then with the block of 4 flats as well that came a year later, this strategy and the idea of the strategy actually came from an individual that I met at a property event. He was actually buying blocks of flats. He told me about the strategy, how lucrative it could be if done correctly. And then it was having several conversations with him that I actually then decided to make this my property strategy. And that individual has actually become my mentor now. So I lean to him and I actually ask him questions, and any problems that I have, any issues that I have, I can always go to him as a point of reference if I need any assistance or any help, and he's able to provide me useful feedback. I also made a point of reading books as well. So I was reading a lot of property books, a lot of finance books. I was also watching YouTube videos as well on property. So I urge you to ensure that you're subscribed, not just to this channel, but good property YouTube channels as well, where you can get different views, different ideas, and get yourself really knowledged and educated on property and the different strategies that are out there as well. Because that will enable you to, number one, make the right decision on the strategy that you want to choose, and then also take the right steps when you're doing and implementing that specific strategy. And then also I did go on a few courses as well. So going on very good courses that give you a lot of knowledge and you're able to actually connect with very successful property investors can also be beneficial as well. However, I just urge you to ensure that you're choosing the right mentorship, the right courses if you are going to do this. And my advice would be, before you do any of that, you actually just go to networking events, get around the right people, and then build up your knowledge that way, before then you actually start to invest in more expensive courses. So that's how I went from one property in 2017 to a property portfolio that's cash flowing for me in 2024. So what's my goal now? Just to keep scaling, to use every property that I've purchased to enable me to buy more. So I'm excited to share more of this journey with you and show you exactly what I'm doing to grow in today's property market. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it valuable as well, and understood how I've been able to scale my property portfolio. So if you enjoyed watching this video, do give it a like. And if you found value from this video or any other video on this channel, then do subscribe as well. And until next time, happy investing.